everybody, and welcome back. Ooh, I don't know what my voice did right there. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name's Kiy-Lee, and I am 14 years old. Not 14, 15 years old. I feel like I always somehow end up getting my own age wrong in the intro of my video. But anyway, and in today's video, I'm actually bringing back something that you guys, like, if you've been watching me for a long time or you've scrolled down my channel, you would have seen that I have done in the past, and then I kind of sucked off because I was doing vlogs, and now I'm back doing it. So, I used to do a lot of prepping videos, and then I slacked off of it, because I switched over to vlogging, but now I'm incorporating prepping back into it because it's one of those things that is so important to me. You know from my mom's channel that she preps a lot, and that's like, she's like literally amazing at it. She's a pro, and I've learned a lot of tips and good information from her on prepping, and I feel like it would be helpful for kids my age that are interested in it. So as you guys know, since I've been doing vlogging, I haven't really talked about it, but I feel like it's always important to just kind of bring it back around, and that's what I'm doing. But what was I about to say? It was on my mind. Oh yeah. So why is it important to prep? When it comes to prepping for your family, I feel like it's so important to have extra stuff stocked up because you never know what could happen. A lot of people prep for different things though. Some people prep for natural disasters. Some people prep for world/country problems. Some people prep for hard times, whether it's financially or emotionally, or if you have somebody disabled in your home or sick in your home, stocking up their medication or whatever they need throughout their day-to-day lives. Some people prep for that so that they don't have to worry about constantly having to go out and get this or that, especially when it comes to somebody sick or disabled who may really need their medicine at a certain time or just really needs it and something happens where they really need their medication. You don't want to have to have whoever's sick, or if you're sick and you live alone, have to wait in order to get the proper medication you need in order to feel better. Some people prep just to prep, and some people don't know why they're prepping, but they are prepping. There's many different ways you can prep. You can prep food, essential items, personal care. You can prep home appliances. You can prep building appliances. And when I say building appliances, I mean wood, special tools, stuff like that. I do feel like there is no wrong way to prep. It's just a matter of what you're prepping, and if it's nutritious to your body, if it's healthy, if it has a shelf-stable, a long-lasting shelf, I guess, life, like, before it could go bad. I will say something good to start prepping is canned foods. Canned goods often last a long time on shelves and can go past their expiration date. Same with things like flour, rice, water. Me personally, I've never seen water expire. If water expires, then it's probably a different type of water, because it's not your natural water. But flour, water, food, personal items. I will say it's never a bad thing to stock up on cleaning supplies like hand soaps, paper towel, tissue, because in a survival situation, I'm sure you don't want to be drying your hands with leaves. Another important thing I feel like it's so important to stock up on is, what's it called? Oops, it's just in my head. Oh, medication. If you know there's somebody in your house that's sick, whether it's asthma, GERD, maybe anxiety medicine, has any type of problem where they need their medication, whether it's frequently or can have sudden moments where they really need their medicine, I feel like it's important to have their medicine on hand because in a survival situation, the last thing you want is somebody in your house to be sick or going through it and have no way of getting their medication. Next up, where you prep. So you don't want to prep in an area that's constantly going through wet spaces, whether it's in your attic where you know you may have leaks, especially when it rains. You don't want to set your canned stuff and your prepping items and medication in a spot where they could potentially get wet often or wet at all. I would suggest a room or an area in your house where you have some free space, maybe putting a shelf up and prepping there, or placing everything back there, or maybe like a few cabinets. I know a lot of houses have cabinets. In apartments too. It just depends on like your living space. But I know houses and apartments have cabinets. So if you want to do a cabinet or a place like that, that would be good. I think the main question I was on though is why you should prep. I feel like prepping to me is so important because in a survival situation or important like situation where you cannot leave out your house, last thing you want to do is be starving, be sick, be thirsty, be dehydrated. I know for me, it's hard to go a long period of time without food because my body needs food. Especially as someone that does have GERD and stuff, my GERD can flare up if I do not eat for a long time because an empty stomach is an acidic stomach. Words from my mother. But it is true, an empty stomach is an acidic stomach. And it can be hard, especially in a scary situation, to be thinking about food if you're trying to get everything settled. But once you're settled, I'm sure you'd want a meal to come back to or some type of food to come back to. So, that's one of the reasons too. When it comes to prepping is one of those things that it's either you do it or you don't. But if you do it, it will reflect on in the long run if something were to happen. And if you don't do it, then it'll reflect in the long term what's going to happen. So it's either you want to be on the full side where you and your family have food, you have water, you have everything you need, or you want to be on the bad side where you're hungry and you're going around trying to see who will help you. Because in a scary situation, it's sad, but in this world, not a lot of people are going to want to give you some of their food. They're going to turn you around, they're going to say no, they're not going to answer the door because they don't know who you are. So it's important to have food, especially if you have a big family, because that's when it could start to trickle down. If one person doesn't have enough energy to do stuff, they're not going to want to do anything, and that could trickle down, and then slowly no one's going to want to do anything. And that could also cause people to get hangry and cause a lot more fights and disagreements. Next up is, when it comes to prepping, I feel like it's one of the most important things ever. It's like if you're going to school, prepping your backpack before you go to school or the night before to make sure you have everything will set you up for when you're in school not to need something. And prepping is like in real life. Prepping your household for stuff you may need is like setting yourself up to go to school. Because once you're in that survival or scary situation, you're not going to need food, you're not going to need water because you're already going to have it. But when it comes to food and water and prepping those things, I feel like it's important to know what you're actually prepping. Because if you're prepping a lot of junk food in a survival situation, you would want to have healthy food. Something that your body can easily, what's the word I'm looking for? Digest, that's the word I'm looking for. Easily digest without having problems. If you're having something that is greasy or heavily processed and your body does not want to break that food down as easily, that could cause sicknesses. Or not feeling too good, which is the last thing you want to be feeling when you're in a survival situation. Which could also cause you to need medicine. And if you don't have that medicine, then you're very much out of luck, because without the medicine you may need, there's nothing really you can do, and it's kind of one of those things where you have to wait and try and bear it out, and I don't think you'd want to be feeling bad in a situation that's already bad. So I would say prep your medications, and also your food. When it comes to personal hygiene, I feel like for me it would be easiest to prep many items like many deodorants and many toothpaste and toothbrush and mouthwash, because those things you can easily slip into a backpack and be on your way, rather than having to put a whole thing of mouthwash in your bag and then taking up area and space in your backpack that you could easily use for something else. And also you can get a lot of it at once and be able to put a lot of it in your bag and not have to worry about only having space for one or two. I would say when it comes to getting the right backpack, I would pick something that has a lot of space in it, and by a lot of space I mean a lot of compartments. In a scary situation, you don't want to have a small backpack or a Chanel purse or Gucci purse, because you can't fit a lot of stuff in that depending on what you have. So I would say get something that's bigger and better rather than trying to get something that is expensive and smaller. My advice also would be, if you do get a backpack, go ahead and prep it now. Prep it with the small stuff that you may need, like deodorant, mouthwash, stuff like that, so I can already be in there, and in a scary situation, you don't have to do that much packing, whereas trying to put everything in there at once, scrambling around, and you may forget or grab the wrong things. So that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the little tips that I gave in there, in this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!